friends, my name is Rebecca. I am an indie author of new adult fantasy, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I create videos to chronicle my journey as an indie author and to discuss all things writing. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, I'd love it if you could subscribe and follow along with me. We have finally reached the last 3 books of the Pixie Chronicles, which also means we have reached the books I know the least about. Truthfully, I have done very little work on these books outside of the absolute essentials for the overall series, so I do apologize in advance if these videos start to feel a little vague and short. That being said, today's book is the 7th book in this series, and it is titled Hunted. As we like to do on this channel, let's start by quickly describing what Hunted is about. Hunted is a retelling of Snow White, and sad to say, probably one of the books I'm dreading to write the most. That sounds really terrible, and I promise I'm not dreading it because I don't like the characters or the story, but rather because the ideas I have for it are so vague and complicated, I don't really know how I'm going to make it all work. But if I can pull it off, I think it can be really amazing. As for the location for Hunted, we are returning to a place I've written about before, and that is Prydell. If you don't remember where that is, it's the same setting I used for Glimmer, and it's a country very loosely based on Ireland with a heavy dose of my own made-up culture mixed in. I would like to set this story in a slightly different part of the country than Glimmer, maybe somewhere in the mountains, but I'm honestly not sure yet on where exactly that might be. When I visualize this story, I do see a lot of snow-covered hills and dense forests, so I may lean into that, but I don't know that I necessarily want this to feel like a super wintry story, as I feel like I've already got that covered with both Fairy Tale and Clockwork, so maybe I'll warm things up a bit and head into early spring. Next up, let's discuss the characters, but I'm sorry to admit that Hunted is the first book in this series where I don't actually know who my primary protagonist is. I like to write from a singular perspective throughout the entire book, so switching between 2 leads is not really something I want to suddenly introduce this far in the series. But as it is, I am torn on who will be considered our main character. When I initially came up with the idea for the story, my first inclination for the main character was a gentleman you might remember by the name of Needles. If he seems familiar, good, he absolutely should. I first introduced him back in Glimmer, which is the 3rd book in the series, and now he is back for a much larger role. Needles is a rough around the edges kind of guy, very straightforward with no frills or distractions. He is intelligent and highly focused on whatever goal he sets out to do, sometimes erring on the side of ruthless. Still, he makes friends easily to those willing to look past his tough exterior. Although he guards his deepest emotions, he's not afraid to care for others who deserve it, and he's loyal without a fault. Needles sees the world through a black and white lens with little patience for the nuances many situations actually require. He isn't afraid to take action or take the role of a leader, as he has a strong sense of justice and morality, even if he doesn't always match up with others. He couldn't care less about what others think of him, so long as he's doing what he feels is the right thing. So that's Needles, but as time went on and I molded the story around in my head a little bit more, it occurred to me there might be someone else more suitable for the main protagonist, and that would be Golden, or as her acquaintances sometimes call her, Goldie. Goldie is tough, determined, and extremely competitive. She battles deeply with feelings of loneliness, but often covers it up by being terse, sarcastic, and combative. Because she views her peers as competition, Goldie has very few friends, which only exacerbates her isolation and fear of not measuring up. Goldie is highly protective of her heart, despite her desperate yearning to be loved and love others. While she is not particularly hot-headed, she is quick to action and confident in her follow-through. She is trans and has an L-shaped scar running across the length of her right hand that she's had since before she can remember. She is tall with pale skin, icy blue eyes, and long blonde hair. So, like I said, it is still very much in the air as to which of these 2 characters will end up being our central character for Hunted. I can honestly see the story working out well both ways. It's just a matter of some specific scenes needing to be told from certain perspectives that's really throwing me for a loop. Right now, I am leaning toward Goldie, but that can change again the more I work on the outline. Unfortunately, that's all I have as far as characters right now. I do anticipate at least one other major player, maybe even 2, as well as a couple supporting roles, but none of them have been solidified to the point where I really feel confident sharing them yet. And the premise I have so far is even more unfinished. But in the spirit of keeping the format of this video like all the other ones, here's what I've got so far. As a special soldier of the Queen, Goldie is ready to do anything to earn her place among the ranks, even hunting down some 2-bit bandit in the woods. But capturing him is the easy part, and when an unruly spell goes awry, she quickly realizes that this bandit is far more valuable than she could have ever imagined. Yeah, sadly, that's honestly all I've got so far. As for the status of this book, well, this book is barely more than an idea at this point, and everything I just said is definitely subject to change. I've not even begun any sort of real outlining or note-taking, and I already know I won't be getting into it for another couple of years. But I do know it will carry events that are vital to the overall series, and again, if I can pull this off, I think it can be really amazing. And hopefully by the time I get to writing it, my skills will have improved enough that I can do that and not be so intimidated by it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again with another video very soon. Bye!